There is one iPhone out of the entire iPhone lineup that lives in the shadows, and yet, if you look closely, it may well be the best iPhone overall for many people. I'm talking of the iPhone 13 mini here in the blue fog silicone case. Although by virtue of its screen size, it gets ruled out by most people without consideration, I've spent quite some time with it now to understand its appeal. And I've discovered that you get used to it quite quickly, and then it wins you over with its charms. Watch on to know why it may just be the best iPhone on sale today, iPhone 14s included. Let me start by confirming what you already know. This is not the best content consumption device out there. No, it does not have a gorgeous 6.7-inch 120Hz screen for binge watching videos or even scrolling through social media feeds with ultimate smoothness. It also does not get a gargantuan battery that makes the phone last 2 whole days. It is none of those things. But what if you need a digital detox in your life? What if you've been looking to reduce your binge watching, mind-numbing online sessions? What if you specifically want to steer away from those big screens and have something small in your pocket that doesn't make its presence felt every time you go out for a walk or a run? Well, if any of that resonates with you, the iPhone 13 mini is right up there amongst the best small phones available today. It weighs just 144 grams and has a screen size equaling the largest iPhone from 2018, the iPhone 8 Plus. The screen to body ratio, having increased dramatically with the new design, means that the new phone is diminutive in size and you're able to hold it quite comfortably in one hand and reach all 4 corners, making one-handed use a reality once again. Looks wise, it's similar to any iPhone 13 series phone, or for that matter the 12 or the 14 series too. That same design philosophy applies here, and the accessories you put on feel similar. Of course, because of the small size, everything is much more manageable and a pleasure to use. Take this blue fog silicone case for example. It is nice and high quality to the touch, and because of the diminutive size of the mini, the sharp edges of the phone do not bite into your hand as much as with the larger phones, making even longer usage sessions comfortable. So you get the same excellent A15 Bionic chip inside that still does duty in the non-pro iPhone 14 series phones. Everything here is butter smooth, nothing trounces this chip, and it's well suited even to intensive tasks. One thing to bear in mind is that since it has a much smaller body than the larger iPhones, it does get warmer than them during intensive usage. But this is not uncomfortably so, just more noticeable. Using it with a case obviously negates this issue. So this phone does not get ProMotion. It is still a 60Hz screen. It is certainly an OLED screen, so none of the greyish blacks from IPS panels from before. Side by side with the Pro iPhone, you certainly see the difference. But I was surprised that using this phone on its own, you soon forget about ProMotion and get used to this screen. It does not feel janky anymore and still feels fluid. I'm surprised with this because at the time of upgrading from the 12 Pro Max to the 13 Pro Max, the biggest pull for me was the 120Hz display, and the difference there was so apparent to my eye that I could not bear to use the older screen having used the 13 Pro Max. No such issue here, perhaps because of the smaller screen or perhaps because of the joy of using such a small phone. You simply don't notice this after a while. So if this was holding you back from buying the mini, you can safely disregard any such concerns. You now get the iPhone 12 Pro Max camera system in the smallest iPhone body on sale. What I wouldn't have given for this combination back in 2021 when I was out on holiday in Iceland and shooting constant videos with the 12 Pro Max. Needless to say, the camera system there was excellent, but having a much more manageable form factor would have been a boon, especially since I always had access to a car charger. And the extra battery drain caused by shooting 4K video would not have mattered. As expected, this is an excellent camera system. Shoots fairly well in most conditions. I do miss the third telephoto lens though, and wish there was an iPhone 14 Pro Mini that would have all these lenses. Now this can still shoot portrait mode photos, but you obviously have to be a lot closer to your subject. For my personal style of shooting, I use the telephoto lens on the iPhone 13 Pro Max the most, even more so than the wide-angle camera. So I would have preferred deleting the wide-angle in favor of the telephoto here. Also, none of the latest iPhone 14 Pro models higher pixel count here. You're stuck with 12 MP photos, but that may not be a bad thing if all you usually do is post to social media. Now, traditionally, the biggest failings of the small phone in the connected world are battery life and the small screen itself. Let's talk battery life first, because this phone's biggest improvement over its predecessor was in this area. It is now so good that it comfortably lasts all day. You do not have to ration your usage, and you can use it like any large screen phone. 4 or even 5 hour plus screen on time days are a reality with this phone, and this is with all types of usage. Obviously, this will vary depending on the number of hours spent on cellular networks versus Wi-Fi and having 2 SIMs active instead of 1. But in general, the efficiency of the A15 Bionic chip combined with the 9% larger 2406 mAh battery means that the phone is now as good as at least the larger iPhone 13, if not quite the Pro Max. The only difference is that whilst those phones have something left over at the end of the day, the Mini will have dipped its toes into the low battery mode and will be down to single digits if you do not juice it up in the late evening hours. A couple of surprises with this phone. Lots of people have talked about how MagSafe accessories fit this phone better than most iPhones, and they are right. Because there is absolutely no space around the accessories, there is no wiggle room, so they fit right the first time. Also, they seem like they were designed for the Mini first, but also to fit the larger phones, which makes sense. However, the Mini is so small in some cases that you have to carefully position it on some Qi wireless chargers so that it starts charging. Many wireless chargers were never designed for something so small. The other surprise for me was how well Face ID works on this phone. It in fact works better than any other iPhone for me. It unlocks at the most awkward angles. I'm not sure why this is, perhaps because the phone is so small, the sensors make contact with your face sooner. Or maybe I just did a better scan of my face when setting up Face ID. Anyway, it is a match made in heaven. Everyday tasks are either better or worse, depending on what you're doing. Typing may be a bit cramped for some, but predictive text input takes care of this. If you like using the phone as a phone, this is just sheer joy and lightweight and nimble. The biggest pull for me with this phone was the idea of breaking free of all the tech that weighs us down today and makes you want to spend more time online. Having those big gorgeous screens always available to you means that it becomes muscle memory to reach out and grab them every few minutes. In fact, for most people, it's difficult to think of a time when they're not in front of a computer screen. Some people take the drastic step of just having an Apple Watch when they head out, but this is not practical, and carrying a phone is a necessity. Even if you can take calls on the watch, depending on where you're watching this, from time to time there may be a need to make payments using QR codes or just take pictures, which means needing to use a phone. This is where the iPhone 13 mini steps in. Buy it now to experience the joy of having such a lightweight device. Buy it now to reduce time spent on your phone. Buy it now because unlike the others, there will most likely not be another like it anytime soon. But don't buy it if you have no plans on changing your smartphone habits. If you want to continue to do more stuff on your phone without having another tablet or laptop, then this is a worse off experience than something with a larger screen. It makes no sense to step down in terms of display or to binge watch stuff or read or input a lot of text on the go. For everyone else who just wants simplicity, ease of use and sensible pricing, the iPhone 13 mini is perhaps the best iPhone there is, bar none. It is a device that is begging for you to try it, and I promise you this, once you've spent a week with the iPhone 13 mini, nothing else will appeal to you. You might just decide to go small once and for all. Thanks for watching, and please consider subscribing if you found this video useful. In the next one, I'll revisit the iPad Mini 6, another tiny titan that appeals along similar lines. I shall see you in the next one.